Hi, I'm Laura Pecina. I'm an agent here at Sam's Hockaday, and today I'm going to discuss with you a life with long-term care case I had back in 2015 when I was freshly new. I started here in April of 2015, and this case came across my way beginning in July of that year. What I want to stress to you is that a big reason behind me finding this case and eventually completing it was because of the client needs assessment tool that we began incorporating that summer and have continued to use to this day. I met this woman in July, knocked on her door, was actively more likely seeking out MedSup to update her Medicare Supplement. She was 73 at the time. She welcomed me in and I went through the client needs assessment. One of the big areas of concern for me when going through her client needs assessment was that she didn't have any kind of long-term care coverage. She was also very well off. She had been a physician for a number of years. In fact, the first question she asked me when I met her was if she delivered me. She had not, but that's kind of how we got the conversation rolling into how she had some assets to protect. And she just claimed that she would pay for her long-term care with her life insurance policies. So I asked her a little bit about that, and she didn't have them in front of her and asked me to come back several months later in October. I touched base with her periodically in that time just to make sure that we were going to keep our appointment. But October did come, we had the appointment, and she had the policies on hand. At that time, I realized I was looking at something rather substantial because just from before even diving into what we could potentially do to better her position, she was paying over $25,000 a year in premium for a combination of 3 policies. 1 was paid up and then 2 were variable life insurance policies. And she'd acquired quite a bit of cash value, you can imagine, with such a hefty premium. The other big thing that I had uncovered previously to that meeting on the client needs assessment was that her agent at the time had never reviewed her policies in the course of their existence. And that was something that was troubling to her. So when I took that information back to our home office, a gentleman named Kirk helped me evaluate what our best plan of attack would be and what would really benefit her the most. Obviously, we were looking at the Life with Long-Term Care option by John Hancock for several different reasons. First and foremost, she didn't have any long-term care coverage. 2, she was within the age range and the health to likely be approved. You have to go through the exam process to be certain, but based on her medications and health history, I felt we likely could get at least some kind of an offer. The cases that we presented to her were, first, we started with one that was apples to apples, that being paying the exact same premium that she was currently, what we thought, and combining them into one policy. That alone would have substantially increased the death benefit on her life insurance policies. The second option we did was eliminating her premiums and keeping it strictly as a life insurance policy on the off chance she wouldn't qualify for the long-term care option. The third was eliminating the premiums with the long-term care rider on it, that was the one I was looking at likely was what she was going to be wanting to do. So that meeting happened probably within a week after her presenting me with her existing life insurance policies. From there, I met back with her and discussed the options and why I recommended what we did and what avenues she wanted to go down and make sure that she realizes this was her choice. With such a large case as this, there's a lot of moving parts that you have to be aware of, and that I was making sure I was keeping my eye on the ball the whole time because, like I said, I was new at the time. So this was a huge case that came my way just by chance of going through the client needs assessment. And when we were at this stage of presenting the options, we went over the benefits of having long-term care option, and why I really like the John Hancock product is because it's not like you use it or lose it. You're going to use it whether you like it or not, because it's essentially it's a life insurance policy at its base that could go to your beneficiaries. But should you need long-term care, adult nurse, whether that be home health care, nursing home care, assisted living, or what they call adult daycare, you can use this policy to your advantage. What I wanted her to keep in mind that this was her decision all the way through, and she could pull out at any time should she wish, but we might as well take our chances and see what she could get approved for. At the time of the application, what you also want to be sure of is to protect yourself a few things. First off, let them know it's going to take a while. It takes time for the exam to get processed, the application to be underwritten, them to look into medical records. I mean, it's not a quick, one and done thing with a case like this. It takes some time. So she was aware that it could take, a month or so for us to have any kind of answer, depending on how quickly her medical records were released. The other thing, and one of the most important things I did, is I warned her against her existing agent trying to protect and conserve the business. I said that they will probably come at you with a number of things. One being, well, are you sure that you're not going to be taxed in this? Which obviously not, because we're going to do a 1035 from the existing policies. It's not like we're having to cash them out. The other thing is they try to say that, oh, well, you're not going to be covered right away. There's a waiting period of 2 years. Not in the case with this type of product in most cases, or any that I've come across. And I also let her, I said, well, and the thing about it is, if they think that they can do so much better for you, why have they not done so at this point? Why have they never reviewed your policy? Why have they not reached out to you about doing something like this where you can add a long-term care benefit on it? Truthfully, they didn't have it, but that's just something you want to bring up to your client. When all was said and done, when we got the final offer in from John Hancock, she came in at standard, and what we were able to do was, 1, eliminate her premium, 2, add a substantial long-term care benefit where she's has over close to $34,000 a month that she could put towards it if she wants. Also, I mean, as you explained to them, they don't have to use that full amount. It's just there if they so choose to. Also, her death benefit stayed just shy of $845,000, which it did lower it a little bit from her existing policies, but the fact that we eliminated her premium was so large that it kind of dwarfed that in comparison. The other thing that I actually learned at that appointment, though, when I came back with the final offer, she had some notes, because clearly her existing agent had reached out to her, and it came into the point where they were questioning my character, which I thought was very a blow, but a lot of the agents are going to do it to conserve their business. So once again, please make sure that you stress to them that they likely will hear from their existing agent and that you are doing right by them. You're just exploring their options for them, and if it's not their best, you're not going to do anything. In some cases, we can't better our client's position, and I strongly suggest you walk away at that point and let them know that, look, I did my best, but I think you're in good shape where you are. They're going to appreciate your honesty, and you're going to get some type of other business likely from them in the future by maintaining that relationship, rather than pushing something on them that you don't think is in their best interest. With this option, she did decide to go through with it. It was a huge win for me and has still been the biggest case I've ever come across since I've been here. And I have to really stress the importance of the client needs assessment was to this case. I was new. I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants at that point. I was only a few months in. I hadn't really done anything to this level before. I didn't know life insurance with long-term care like the back of my hand. I was, kind of going with the flow as it came. And as I had questions, Kirk was able to answer them for me and guide me through the process of what we were recommending, why we were recommending. This case was a big deal for me, and it all stemmed from the client needs assessment and asking the questions about life insurance and what her long-term care coverage was like, and that she had none. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. Even if you're not comfortable with a product fully, you can get there. You just need to ask the questions, even see if you can uncover a need that you can address and better a client situation. I fully believe we made the right decision in this case. I think she's very happy. I check with her, and I still check with her annually. That's another thing the old agent never did. I do call her at least once a year to check in to make sure that there's nothing else that I can do for her. Usually I do it during AEP, trying to discuss prescription drug coverage, but she's been satisfied with that so far. But check in with your clients. Don't let them slip through your fingers like this other agent did with me being able to take over this case.